Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
How
Matrix
you doing, bud?
Money Thursday.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Did you guys like that intro? We did something a little bit different for when we have a special guest on, and we definitely do tonight. I should probably turn my light on. You might be able to see me better. There we go. And for those who don't know Daniel Diaz, let me tell you, I think you're in for a treat tonight. The guy has a definite backstory. We're going to ask him a little bit about that. It's very long, so we'll ask him to kind of keep it short. And listen, put any questions you may have in your respective chat, and we'll definitely get that to him. But we're going to be talking to him. He's the executive director of Citizens for Sound Money. And why don't we bring him up now and get him to start introducing himself? What do you say, Jar?
Sounds great.
Daniel Diaz, welcome.
Diaz.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's been a minute since I've been on the channel, but I'm back.
Yeah,
Definitely great.
Feel like a Terminator. I'm back. I'm back. That's awesome. Appreciate you taking the time to be here. I know you are a busy man these days. Just insane. I know we were catching up before we went live, and some of the stuff you were telling me, I was just like, man. So I'll tell you what, so we can respect your time. Why don't you give us a little bit about you for the people who might be joining in who don't know who you are, Daniel?
Yeah. So the short summary of why I do what and who I am.
The abridged version.
Yeah. I'm Cuban American. My family left Cuba in 1967. I was raised hearing about how we had land, we had businesses, we were pretty well off in Cuba. That was all taken away. And then we fled. My family fled to Miami, and my grandfather, my mom and aunt and grandmother came here with nothing but the clothes on their back. My grandfather took advantage of the opportunities in America, built up his contracting business in construction, from just a one truck pouring cement to a multi-million-dollar construction company. He built it from the 60s to the 70s, early 80s, sold it, retired in his 50s, and left an inheritance for our family. And I promised myself at a young age, I'll never allow what happened to my family's country to happen to my country. So I got involved in politics and advocacy work since the age of 16, working on everything from municipal campaigns to presidential campaigns and running super PACs and everything. Took a sabbatical in 2011 to get my master's. When I was getting my master's, I got into finance. I was an insurance agent till I graduated in 2015. And then, or maybe it was like December 2014 was when I graduated. And then moved back to Florida, became a stockbroker because I wanted to help my clients earn more than annuities and life insurance. I hated the greed of Wall Street so much, I went back into politics. So that should tell you something. And then, I did my own thing. I was an entrepreneur, had a direct marketing company, related to a political consulting company. COVID happened. Before COVID, I did jujitsu. I hurt my back. I couldn't continue lifting the papers and the stock, card stock, and doing all the stuff you need for marketing companies. So I started other companies. I had a new business partner, and she was asking me, why don't we invest into Bitcoin? This was March of 2020 when Bitcoin was around $3,000 to $5,000 a coin. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. It's a Ponzi scheme, a tulip. I mean, I was a stockbroker under the financial world, and I'm like, there's nothing in this crypto stuff that I believe in. Well, she and friend didn't stop. And by August 2020, my friend Dan called me. He's like, hey, bro, let me just show you two videos. And after these two videos, if you don't think that, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency is the future, we'll just stop talking to you about it. I didn't need to watch the second video. The first video was from Don Tapscott about how blockchain is changing the world. And what convinced me that blockchain technology could provide more economic, political, and personal liberty than any political activity of man was the immutability of the blockchain, and peer-to-peer aspect of blockchain transactions. And it was a story about 3/4 of the way through the TED Talk about how 70% of the world's population have tenuous titles and deeds, which means that they don't own it. The government leases their land to them for like 9 years or whatever. And he said, imagine if we could put deeds and titles on the blockchain and knowing that it will never be deleted. It's immutable, and you can always prove ownership of your land, your home, regardless of what the government does. Because in Nicaragua, they destroyed titles and deeds, got their communist friends with guns and trucks to the property they wanted to take over, kicked the family out, saying that the government paperwork said they owned the land. And a light bulb went off. Holy cow, if we had blockchain technology in Cuba in the 50s and 60s, we could prove that my family owned land and the businesses. It was illegally taken through the government confiscation. And if the government regime in Cuba ever fell, we could get our money back or our land back, reparations. So then that was August. By October of 2020, I got my first crypto. By November, I was doing crypto mining. And by January, I started a crypto mining and blockchain consulting company of 2021. And then FTX happened in
Yeah.
I think it was late 2022 or late 2021. I think it was 2021, late 2021 in FTX and culminating with the power company canceling our purchase agreement at 5.5 cents, jumping up to 9.5 cents. We just couldn't keep mining. And at that time, I was pretty successful in investing into yield-bearing NFTs, and I wanted to solve a problem with the NFT markets of NFTs going down the zero because of bad news or rug or whatever. So I started an NFT project called Meta Gold Miners Club that was basically backed. Every NFT that was minted through the smart contract was backed by gold. And then a percentage of the price of that NFT would go towards crypto mining. And the idea was to provide a yield of half Bitcoin, half Pax G to the NFT dealers. But to get around the Howey test, they had to do the investors had to do an effort of their own. So that was financial literacy and sound money literacy quizzes every month. So if they passed the quiz, they get the airdrop of Bitcoin and gold. Well, I knew the sound money from the digital perspective. I didn't know anything about sound money from the hard asset perspective. So I reached out to multiple organizations and I found Citizens for Sound Money because they provided education. And they partnered with me in my project. They interviewed me in, I think it was April of 2023. And they mentioned to me, or it was March of 2023, they mentioned to me about legislation in Texas that was trying to make digital gold and silver legal tender. I'm like, I used to work in Austin. I have some contacts down there. Let me reach out and see if we can get anything done and push it to the last minute. Well, they were so impressed that because of my connections, my volunteering, my time, they offered me the position of legislative director in May 2023. 5 months later, the board asked me to take over the entire organization. On October 1st, I became executive director of Citizens for Sound Money. I've been the executive director ever since.
Very impressive.
And folks, that's the abbreviated version. Just let you know. Oh, wait, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry about that. I don't know why is that not going. Anyway, I'm trying to fix it, folks. I don't know what the heck just happened, but I lost some controls. Jar, can you adjust that back?
Let me get that going.
Yeah, thanks. Because all of a sudden my controls are. Yeah, exactly. Hi. Anyway, you know what? While we're working on that in the background, why don't you tell people a little bit more about C4SM and maybe lead into the stuff that you've had going in Maryland right now? Recently.
So Citizens for Sound Money is a 501c3 advocacy organization. The mission of our organization is to promote the use of money and protect people's rights to do so. We promote gold and silver as money, as currency. And we also protect people by passing laws to get rid of taxes when you buy and sell gold and silver, including capital gains. We also pass laws to make gold and silver legal tender, to not replace the dollar, but to give people the option of where they want to save their hard-earned money or economic energy. We also started a 501c3 organization called Sound Money Movement. That is our education foundation. We're in the middle of creating curriculum, courses. Our first course is almost done. We're about 3 episodes out of 5 in. Once we're done with the 3rd episode, we'll make it public, and then we'll just keep releasing the last 2 episodes and creating more courses. We have Austrian economists who are going to be helping us with our curriculum, like Dr. Snyder, Dr. Bob Murphy. Lynette Zhang. We have David Morgan. They're all going to be in providing education on financial literacy and sound money principles. And then until recently, I was the interim executive director of an organization we chartered called the Sound Money Trade Association, because during our lobbying efforts, we realized that gold and silver companies were underrepresented in government. So we launched, we worked on it for about a year, officially launched the chartered organization in October of last year, and now we're taking founding members until June 30th. Then the founding member title will be there until the organization ceases to exist, which hopefully is never. We're gonna have companies like APMEX joining, SD Bullion, others who have showed interest into joining. And what that's going to do for our efforts in the sound money movement is, instead of just citizen money grassroots pushing legislation, we're going to have multi-billion-dollar companies coming from the top, working the top down. We'll be working the bottom up to try to get sound money legislation and sound money regulations put together by the experts in the industry. So now I'm just a non-voting board member representing Citizens for Sound Money, since we're the chartering. It's a perpetual chartering organization. We don't get a vote, which is great because we understood the trade association was going to be the most independent body of the family of organizations that we have founded. So with all that said, with Maryland last year, we got called by Brett Stelfox from Golden Eagle Coin, which is the largest bullion dealer, family-owned bullion dealer on the East Coast of the United States, about the Maryland trying to get rid of the sales tax exemption, which was at $1,000. Well, we a heck of a fight. We had 96 hours before session ended, and we spent like $70,000 through our super PAC to try to stop it. It didn't. It went through. Basically, we weren't able to stop the repeal of the sales tax exemption. So then we came back together after the fact, after the dust settled, and I told them, listen, the reason we couldn't get this done is we learned last minute. You didn't have a lobbyist keeping an eye on the legislation. What you guys need to do is form an association of the bullion dealers and coin show entrepreneurs, business owners that are running the coin shows, and hire in-house lobbyists, or hire a lobbyist firm that is well known in Annapolis, and push this legislation. So they agreed. So we started forming in the summer. We officially filed their 501c6 paperwork in October, and we hired one of the top lobbying firms in the state. We've met with them every single week. We helped them write the legislation, and we were able to get rid and get the $1,000 exemption passed, which initially it wasn't a $1,000 exemption. We got rid of all sales taxes, but a Republican in the state of Maryland fought against that, put amendment on the bill, a Republican, and reverted back to last year's. I mean, it passed unanimously. Every committee, it passed the Senate unanimously. It got to the House, and they added this amendment to go back to the $1,000 exemption. And then the legal tender bill passed the House with no problems. HB 1312 unanimously through the House of Delegates, passed the Finance Committee unanimously, but they added it on the floor. It passed the third reading unanimously, but there was a last-minute amendment because the Office of Financial Regulations in Maryland, they were nervous about accepting gold and silver as legal tender. So the lobbyists reached out to us. We gave them some verbiage, basically saying, look, the other states that passed this, Utah took 11 years before they actually started taking gold, and legal tender was in the books for years before they started using it. So we put that. It wasn't a big issue. On the last day of session, they put it on the calendar, and by midnight, if they didn't get to the bill, it wasn't going to pass. And unfortunately, there were so many bills and so much debate on the other pieces of legislation in Maryland that we weren't able to get to the bill. And unfortunately, we thought it would pass, but it didn't because of that last-minute amendment. So we are going to come back next year with the Sound Money Association of Maryland to push for legal tender status and to get rid of all sales tax, because the Republican who actually filed that amendment said that he will support getting rid of the $1,000 sales tax next year 100%. So we already got unanimous support from both both chambers, and we got another sales tax repeal. So we're going to be flying to Maryland for the governor's signing and celebrate getting rid of the sales tax. And the fact that we were able to do it in 1 year is unbelievable. It was the only it was the only sales the tax cut that passed this year in Maryland. We're the only bill, the only law that decreased revenue. All the other bills increased revenue for taxes. So that tells you that the playbook, the blueprint for blue states, we have it now. Okay. We need to get the local bullion dealers in place. So we got people in California excited now, Washington State. We interviewed Carolyn Bico, who is the chairwoman of the Washington State Coin and Bullion Association. We're going to be partnering with them in Washington to do the exact same thing next year, to get rid of sales tax and make it legal tender. We're working in Alaska, which there's a bunch of other states we're working on as well. But that is essentially what we've done in Maryland. And it's exciting. Nobody thought we were going to be this successful in just 1 year after they got rid of the repeal. And we were this close from making it legal tender, but because of a last minute amendment, we didn't have enough time to get through all the bills on the floor.
Yeah. That's quite an achievement. I know that's great for the United States in general. And I believe the last time we talked, you do have like a sister site in Canada. Is that right? Is there a sister location in Canada that works on the same principles as Sound Money?
We have members.
Okay.
In Canada that we would consider like a state international chapter, but we're in the process of building a social community form so that we can better communicate with our members.
Yeah.
And our state leaders. So we've been focused on a bunch of other things. We're in the process of creating that. It should be ready by the end of this month, where those gold members will get access to kind of like a Facebook. It's like a Facebook in our website where we be able to communicate with our members and actually start coordinating the state chapters. But yeah, international too. So we have members in Canada. We have a chapter in Turkey. We have people in the UK. We have people in Australia. But we're going to be formed. We have the Constitution and the bylaws, state and international organizations.
Yeah.
We needed to get the communication set up first because we were having a hard time staying communicated with the state chairs that I've already appointed.
Oh, and I can imagine just getting the work done at home is like a hurdle on its own. Forget about all the international ones.
Right.
Are you noticing progress in the United States far exceeding other countries, or is anyone ahead of you in this sort of race that you're kind of describing?
No other country in the world has the benefits that we have in the United States because it's in our Constitution.
Right.
We're the only country in the world where the smaller jurisdictions under the federal government have a constitutional right to declare gold and silver as legal tender. So we have a clear advantage over other countries. Every other country, it's going to have to come from the federal government. I don't think that the individual provinces or states within most, if not all other countries, have that freedom to declare their own legal tender status.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating over here. So we'll move down to the bottom of the list. Yeah.
The way Canada is going, and the amount of people and businesses leaving, you guys are already in trouble. It's going to be a lot worse. From what I have heard, and we're told by other business owners, about $1 trillion worth of GDP wealth has left Canada.
And it's going to continue. It's going to continue. I have a lot of friends in the entrepreneurial space. And they're all either already in the process of laying a trail to leave Canada, or that's a decision that's going to be coming up soon, just because everything's getting tougher and tougher, and regulations are kind of choking everything off as well. Yeah,
100%. I feel for our neighbors north. You guys can always become the 51st state.
Just out of pride alone, we're not doing that.
Well, you never know. Alberta might. You never know when they secede. So,
how is that movement in Alberta going?
It's in discussion. I don't really know how far that's actually going to go, but they're serious about at least being separated from Canada and possibly becoming their own territory on its own. But I don't think they're looking at joining anywhere else.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
All right.
Enough.
Do they
And
even have the resources to be their own country?
They pretty much fund the entire country of Canada. If you look at resources, when it comes to oil, minerals, a lot of mining happens in that province. It's a powerhouse. It's basically the Texas of Canada. Quite a bit of revenues generated from there. So without Alberta, Canada's in trouble.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We should make Alberta the 51st state. we need second Texas.
Oh, man. Listen, everybody, I can see a bunch of people kind of coming in, coming out. Welcome. Appreciate you all being here. Shout out to the few people we got watching on Patreon and Odyssey. If you've got comments on those platforms, go ahead and put them in. I'll go grab them. But because they won't show up here. But otherwise, if you're on X, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, put it in and we will get to them. I'm not going through everybody that's here. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate all of you. But if you have a question for Daniel, put it in there. I'll star it and we will get to that as we move on through this interview. Can I redirect the question a little bit from when you were talking about how you're trying to combine like the top down with all the businesses and then the ground up with the grassroots? Are you seeing an increase in the amount of interest from that grassroots level?
Yeah, I think that what's happening is the more success we're having in an organization, and the fact that we have regular shows now on social media, have a marketing not director, specialist on our team. We're posting really, I mean, our X posts are getting a lot more traction than ever before. Our YouTube channel is bringing in new advocates, new, like we got a brand new partner in Texas who's an attorney who has his own channel. He's super excited about getting legal tender passed in California, but he's lobbied and written laws in DC and everything. So what's happening is the word is getting out about our organization. We're the only nonprofit organization advocating for sound money. The other organizations are for profits. So we literally have no agenda other than pushing our nonprofit. I mean, no monetary agenda. We except for pushing sound money principles and sound money legislation. So the word is getting out. We're growing. I was just mentioning before the broadcast that, you know, since we've hired Benjamin Schaefer, our director of operations, Brandy, our media specialist, you know, we have Gabby, our assistant. Things are running much smoother. You know, I'm able to do stuff like this, focus more on the big picture as the executive, while Benjamin runs the day to day. And we're at that point where it feels good. We feel like a mature organization, and we're getting. So yeah, the answer your question, yes, there is more interest because there's more awareness. Look, there's 300 million, or I don't know, is it 400 million? 300 to 400 million Americans, right? And what, maybe, let's say 10% is high, I think, stackers. Let's say only 5%. You're looking at 15 to 20 million people who are stackers, who are learning more about us. Right? Our socials are growing. Our victories are becoming apparent with Maryland and Florida and Missouri and every other state that we're pushing and lobbying. And people are grateful for the work that we're doing, especially the people in Maryland. All the bullies in Maryland and the Sound Money Association of Maryland are so grateful for the work that we've been doing, locking arms, walking side by side with them. You know, and there's other organizations out there that have been here much longer. Some of the OG organizations that they haven't done much. All they've done was send emails, or they'd come and testify. But we've locked arms with our partners and we pushed this together, advise them. You know, and it's also different because, you know, I've been in politics since the age of 16. Like, I've done this. I've run super PACs. I understand how the whole system works. I've lobbied since I was 16. So that experience alone is beneficial for any of our partners that want to lock arms and really push the sound money fight.
It's funny because when you say that, it always reminds me when you say nobody wants to know how the sausage is made. It's it's so true, though. It's so true.
Very true.
But Daniel knows. Just saying. Daniel knows.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to know how the sausage is made, man. There's corruption everywhere, and America is not immune to corruption. It's just in a three-piece suit versus being raw, you know, and unfiltered around the rest of the world.
Right. Right. And now, on a personal level, what do you have going on? Because we're talking beforehand, and you were telling me a couple of things. For those who do know you and have seen you here before, why don't you give them a heads up as to what's going on with you?
Yeah. So my full-time job is running these nonprofits. My side hustle, before recently, was just selling bullion because it's an extension of our mission from use of sound money. So I'd get bullion in the hands of people who wanted it. And in September of this year, I took on a couple of partners who wanted, to get into the bullion space, and we basically bought another company, got all their bullion, got their IP, Silverback Precious Metals. We're in the process of finalizing that purchase, and our late founder Jim Forsyth, he was one of the partners in that company, and the Silverback Precious Metals. You can Google it; it's pretty popular. You can go to silverbackprecioumetals.com. The old website is still there. Once we finalize the purchase, we're waiting for some trademark stuff to come through, and then it will be officially ours. And with that purchase, we decided to open up a coin shop in Florida, Sebastian, Florida. My company, Sovereign Gold and Silver Exchange, on December 30th was our grand opening, and it has been amazing. It has more than quadrupled the revenue.
Wow.
I mean, actually, in the first quarter, we more than quadrupled the revenue of the last 2 years combined. I had now, mind you, we opened up right before silver skyrocketed to 120, so that was a big part of it. There was a lot of sales in January, so it's perfect timing. I mean, it's been unbelievable. And we're just not a coin shop. I am the executive director of Citizens for Sound Money. You're going to come to my coin shop. You're going to get an education on sound money, and you're going to be a stockbroker. So you're going to get some financial recommendations, not advice, recommendations.
Yeah.
How to save on different accounts. Where we provide gold and silver account services for Alpine Gold, Kinesis, Glint, any of the products that we work with. So it's like, because I am who I am as executive director, our business, though we're not officially affiliated with C4SM, we're loosely tied to C4SM, and we're going to get everything. So it's been amazing. And the best things I like about having a coin shop is I have an office now, and I don't work from home. So now there's that clear separation between work life and personal life. When before I'd be home, work would end for 6 o'clock for my employees, but I keep going to 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, wake up at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and start the whole process over. It was just nonstop. It was the only way I could run the organization for 2 years by myself, right? But now we have a team, and we got Benjamin, who's fantastic. He best decision we've made, and best decision I pushed to get him hired. Best decision of my career so far here at C4SM. He is phenomenal. The organization is running smoothly, and we because of him and the team, he's managing the team. It's unbelievable. Like I could just see C4SM growing with the thing that we're building. It's a true blessing. And then this is a hobby for me. My coin shop is literally like my side hustle hobby. I don't even need to be here. We have staff that can run this place, but I enjoy it. When I have a little bit of free time from running C4SM, I go out there looking coins, do some big deals that my staff, like, hey, I need to come out. The guy wants to buy 50 stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll come out. So it's pretty cool, man. I enjoy it. And we do a lot of other things too. We do smelting services, we do assaying services. So you bring your gold and silver, we melt it down, we'll shoot it with the HRF, stamp the weight and purity, make it bullion.
Wow. Okay.
We do a lot of things. So I'm trying to create multiple. We do whatnot. So every Friday, and it looks like every Saturday, we do whatnot shows. So that's another.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's starting to pick up quite a bit now, right? I heard that's starting to pick up quite a bit.
Oh, dude. I mean, honestly, like it's now that we hit 1,000 sales, is instant payout. I mean, it's when we're slow, it's like 3 days worth of revenue just doing one show on whatnot.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
And it's because before I did whatnot, I was just a little side hustle. I have a coin shop, a lot of inventory. So we're just constantly selling stuff. Every 30 seconds, we're selling a piece of bullion or a graded coin or or some copper or something or a currency or it's just nonstop. So getting, me personally with my business, we're getting sound money in the hands. Like, this is just an extension of my career, having a coin shop. So it's been very fruitful, man. It's been ever since I remember when I was on your show, we were doing the interviews, and I said on August 14th of 2024, I said I sold all my crypto. They cut.
Yes.
Remember they cut
I remember that.
The minute I made that decision, it is the best financial decision I've ever made in my life. It just my economic energy has not just been being preserved, but because I was selling my bullion and growing my gold, and now that I have partners, it just exponentially increased that selling the sack. I haven't taken a profit out of this. We just keep rolling the currency and the gold and the silver back into the business, growing and growing and growing and growing. So it's been very fruitful, very beneficial. People are seeing, I'm getting fans. I'm getting fans traveling from Illinois and everything just to come in, or Ocala, Florida, come in and take a picture or just want to talk
That's
to me.
awesome. Yeah.
That is crazy. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I've never had fans before. So it's kind of fun when I know you. Our manager was a fan before he came into work for us. So it's interesting, the growth, even personally, not just with the organization, but personally, it's been very, very fruitful.
Oh, sounds amazing. I'll tell you what.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad for you, man. Glad for you.
Thank you. And honestly, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for Jim Forsyth giving me a shot, and then the board at Citizens Some Money, offering me the position. Like, I was crypto degen, and then I became the Sound Money leader in the movement, and it's because of them. It's all glory to God for opening up those doors, and
just takes one opportunity, right? And the snowball effect happens. It's pretty amazing.
When I hit 40, my life changed. And it's funny because most people just skyrocket in their careers and grow around their 40s, think about Bill Gates, maybe they were in their 30s or whatever, but the overall percentage of people who just take off in their careers is like plus or minus 5 years, age of 40, it takes off. And that's exactly what happened for me.
That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had just a quick kind of related question. More about the Federal Reserve itself. Can that be reformed in any possible way right now, or are we pretty much done and needs to be restructured from the base?
How can you reform a private corporation that has an exclusive contract with the United States Treasury to print the currency? The banks own it. You can't reform that. It's going to have to be a congressional act, or the Treasury taking over the printing of the currency and taking that back, right? Like, it's you can't reform it. You have to end it. End the Fed, baby. Just end the Fed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. I'm going to assume, Daniel, you're of the same mindset, even with this administration. Yes. Yeah,
it's. I've heard some rumors here and there. The Treasury might be doing something that they're trying to set up, to get rid of the Fed, like underhandedly. I don't know. I just know that we need to get rid of the one institution that's stolen more wealth from the people than any other institution, including the government. It's the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has stolen. That's why 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck with not $1,000 to their name. That's why 75% of Americans said they would be struggling if they stopped getting a paycheck today to make ends meet in the next month.
That's horrible.
Right?
Absolutely.
And
horrible.
That's not just the United States. It's every single country with a central bank fiat currency. It's even worse in other countries, right? Like the Turkish lira. I mean, they have 100%, 75, 50% inflation in 1 year. We're at 12% in America, and we're the global reserve currency. Can you imagine 50%, 40, 60% inflation in 1 year? Like the minute they have to change prices on goods and services daily. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard of that.
Well, Walmart's getting ready for that. They got those digital things now in Walmart, so they can change it and update it every second.
Quick update. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you price everything in gold and silver, you don't ever really need to change the price.
There you go.
So with all the progress you've made so far, in 5 years from now, where do you envision you are in terms of stature and growth?
Like the organization?
Oh, the organization itself, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I have a long-term vision in my mind for the organization. I ran Young Americans for Freedom back in 2010 in DC. And one thing I learned in the conservative movement is that every single major nonprofit in the conservative movement had a physical location with a headquarters and land and everything. And what I want to see in the next 5 years, if we grow enough, we get the donations, I want to do something like the Mises Institute or something like ISI, Intercollegiate Studies Institute, where they have a location where they do training, where they do education. We currently have a headquarters in Arizona with Zhang International. They just changed their name from Enterprises International. And it's great. We can use their facilities, but it's not ours, right? We're just partnered with Zhang International, and that's our new address. We're now an Arizona corporation, nonprofit corporation, instead of an Arkansas. We're still going to keep our mailbox in New Hampshire to honor Jim. But we're now an Arizona nonprofit. Arizona is very favorable for nonprofits and very little regulations or filings and everything. So we're now an Arizona nonprofit. And if we could get some land in Arizona or land somewhere else in a favorable state, have like one of the things Jim was really big on was teaching people how to make gold and silver bullion. Like we had a scholarship program where we're going to bring a student from Turkey to do it, but there were some visa issues and never happened. And I want to build an education facility, a training facility, and also a forward commitment to teach people how to make, rounds and make money, private money, obviously, right? Gold rounds, not coins. And, at that point, I'd see us having state organizations, international organizations, us with the Sound Money Trade Association being able to influence global monetary policy, not just United States. Because, it's harder in other countries like Canada, the UK, Ireland, all that. But you can still do it at the federal level. They're much smaller governments. Corruption's corruption. But, I mean, if we're able to make gold and silver, almost make gold and silver legal tender in Maryland and get rid of taxes, almost get rid of all taxes in one of the bluest states in the country, right? And get unanimous support from both parties. And we're seeing that in red states as well, in Florida and in Missouri. Not unanimous in Missouri, but almost. This is gold and silver. Sound money is not a partisan issue. It's a human rights issue. It is. It's about economic justice, because the current system is unjust, and it's stealing the wealth of the people. And we're not trying to destroy the current monetary system. Don't get me wrong. If it collapsed, I'd be happy, but that hurt too many people. But we just want to give people the option to use real money and protect themselves and teach them what is money, right? It's a medium exchange, a unit account, and long-term store value. The dollar is a short-term store value. It's not long-term. And you can prove that by just trying to reorder what you bought on Amazon and Walmart 6 years ago and see the price difference. It's usually 40 to 60% higher than you purchased it 6 years ago. That's because real inflation is closer to 10 to 12% compounded every year. If you priced it in the price of gold, you actually be paying less gold for the exact, or silver for the exact same items, because gold and silver's money maintains its purchasing power. So where I see us being an international organization with a fiscal headquarters, changing monetary policy globally.
Okay.
Fair enough. I know this question might get us off on a little bit of a tangent, but I promise after this, unless we'll go in to get your questions. So again, if you got questions, put them in the chat. So I think it's pretty obvious, or at least for those who are watching, Daniel, and paying attention to what the government is doing, that there's a replumbing of the financial system underway right now.
Yeah.
How about getting you off on that tangent a little bit? What do you think about that? What do you see about that? And how do you feel that it's gonna end up? Because I'm gonna guess that your final take is gonna be what you're already saying. Get a parallel economy outside of it, regardless what they're doing. But what's your thoughts on that replumbing?
It's a lot worse than I think you think I'm gonna lay out here. With when we last talked, AI was around, but robotics weren't. I mean, robotics were still in Tesla's pre-stage phase. We had that really couldn't do anything. China had robots that were kind of robots, right? But if you look at what China has now, they have robots that can do flips, karate chops, kicks. I mean, they have human-like robots. We're behind them on that. You mix that with autonomous AI, what Tesla's doing, they are paying people to do mundane tasks to have robots just do the work. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to lose a lot of jobs, and jobless claims are going to skyrocket. And I expect unemployment to skyrocket in the next 7 years to 40, 60, 70%. Now, what happens when you have people that do jobs that aren't educated and the machines are taking over? Because you have to pay a machine. You just do a one-time upfront cost of 20 grand, and boom, that's $20,000 salary for a machine that you just have to do maintenance and the thing that a human can do, and don't have to worry about healthcare, don't have to worry about Social Security, don't have to worry about taxes. The future is going to be a robotic AI future, and everybody in the AI field is extremely worried about a Matrix situation or some other like iRobot situation, right? That's a real threat that we can see in the near future. Not something like 10, 20 years. I'm talking about within 5 years. We're going to see robots doing a lot of the work and people getting laid off. So what does that lead to? Well, we already see the major banks around the world talking about a major reset, and where the governments will be issuing wallets, and then that's how you're going to be getting your currency, right? Yep. Well, combine that with the AI threat that I just mentioned. Well, you have unemployment at that rate. The government is going to have to do something. They're going to call it an emergency and say, look, we're going to provide a universal basic income. To get this currency, it's going to be this new currency, a global currency that we're issuing, and you just download this wallet, and we're going to pay you X amount of money every single month so that you can survive, because AI is doing the work. And look, this AI future is exactly what Karl Marx wanted. He thought it was possible to have machines do all the work to usher in a utopian communist state, kind of like what Star Trek is. A lot of people don't know that Gene Roddenberry was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party, and Star Trek was a utopian future for the communist state. Because think about it. What is Star Trek? Nobody works unless you're in Starfleet, right? There's really businesses. Everything is replicators, and everything is pretty much like godless society, all about aliens. Everybody is pretty much equal, and the machines and the robots and the computers and the androids are doing everything, right? They're even mining on Mars and all that. Well, what does that sound like is happening now? We're getting to that point.
Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. And the ideal communist state is the machines do all the hard work, and we can just live a utopian life and go to the beach and fish and paraglide and whatever we want to do, because the machines are doing everything. The problem with communism, it's a very convincing ideology, a very convincing philosophy, because 1/3 of the entire world was communist at one point. But the problem is that Karl Marx and Frederick Engels did not account for human nature. Human nature cannot exist without a purpose. We would go crazy. We'd go insane. You have to make give yourself a purpose to continue moving on and getting out of bed and doing something, right?
Yep.
And work is a blessing, right? Like the longer you work it or not, the longer you live. There's a reason for this drive to actually do something productive with yourself. We're creative beings. We're made in the image of God, who created the cosmos, created man. Art, construction, work, being a farmer, you're creating something, you're building something, you're nurturing something. There is a necessity for us to work. So, if you factor in, the communist utopian state, what they're trying to accomplish, their major flaw, the reason why communism will never succeed is because of human nature. We're self-interested beings, and we need to do something. So in this future, where a potential universal basic income comes in because the AI robots are doing all the work, I mean, what's going to be your purpose if you don't have a job, right? I joked around. I don't know when was that? Was I interviewed yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I think our purpose is to be destroy the robots at that point, right?
right.
What do I think about the future? I think the future is going to be a digital currency. I think that gold and silver, and that's why we're pushing for gold and silver itself to be a parallel legal tender currency. Unless they completely redo the Constitution, which I highly doubt, United States is uniquely positioned to have a bilateral monetary system where, yeah, I guess you can say bilateral monetary system with gold and silver in circulation, whether it's physical or digital with private companies, or this government wallet and this currency. So the future, I don't know, man. Nobody can predict the future, but the future is, people don't like sci-fi, but most sci-fi shows and sci-fi movies have come true. The technology,
unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, iRobot is likely to come true. Some form of Matrix, where we're going to be in virtual reality, and the player one or whatever with those suits, where
Ready Player One, yeah.
You feel like, dude, the future is interesting. And I thought getting a PhD in future, it's called the future PhD, where you just kind of predict the future trends of humanity, because it fascinates me the direction we're going. Because if you study history, you can kind of predict pretty accurately
the path that we're on. Yeah.
Right. History doesn't repeat itself, but it sure as hell rhymes. And and it's interesting. The reason why we're fighting so hard, because gold and silver is freedom. And the government not controlling the monetary system is freedom. So I hopefully that answered your question.
No, that you're right. It wasn't the avenue I thought you were going to take, but I appreciate it nonetheless, because you're not wrong. That's for sure. Or in my opinion.
Well, the short answer is the dollar's going to die. Something's going to replace it. What that something is, digital currency, probably controlled by the government.
Yeah, programmable money. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. Programmable money. We do have a few questions lined up, Daniel, if you're up for it. So this was from way back in the beginning when Andy first kind of came in, and welcome, Andy. Appreciate you being here. So basically asking, better to hold coins or rounds for the most part?
If I'm spending way too much time looking for a buyer of the coin, I think it's worth 10 times more than the round. Well, it depends on what coin. And I can tell you that in the United States of America, the number one sold product is the American Silver Eagle. During the run-up, they had ridiculous premiums. You're looking at $12, $15 per ounce for American Silver Eagles. Well, because they were running out. The mint was running out. But now if you look, like our 2026 Eagles at our shop, we're selling for $550 over. Uncirculated Eagles are selling for, I think, I don't have my price sheet in front of me, but here it is. Yeah,
he's always prepared.
2026 Eagles are $550 over. BU Eagles are $350 over, and toned Eagles are $325 over. So the premiums are basically the premiums that bullion rounds have pretty much been on and off for the last years. But bullion is down too. A generic round at $2.25. Buffaloes are $75. So if you were going to choose between a buffalo or a generic round at $2.25 or $3.75 over, versus, at least in our store, a toned silver eagle at $3.25 or a brilliant uncirculated eagle at $3.50, what are you going to pick? The most popular recognized bullion coin in the world right now, the American Silver Eagle, or just generic rounds, right? So I would say when the prices are this close in premium, go with American Eagles, 100%. When premiums are $15, $17 for Eagles, like we were in January, and then rounds are like $3, $4, go with rounds. Because coins have a higher premium, they're more recognized. They're also legal tender. American Silver Eagles are legal tender in the United States. So they don't, no matter what the state is, and we even had our episode with Washington. Washington is requiring them to charge sales tax on American Silver Eagles, and we advised them, like, that's creating a supremacy clause issue. You can't have a state tax federal legal tender. So, there shouldn't be any sales tax. And I think there might be an opportunity for a legal challenge with some of the coin dealers if they feel like they want to do that. And we will support them. We'll provide legal advice to their attorneys that they hire, because Benjamin is not licensed in Washington, on the fact that the state of Washington should not be taxing legal tenders, American Silver Eagles. So long story short, when premiums are high, go with rounds. When premiums are like this close to the same premiums as generic rounds, go with Eagles. And heck, I like Canadians. I don't like the Canadian government, but Maple Leafs are $2.25 over. They're $2.25. So Maple Leafs are cheap. Australian kangaroos right now or $3 over spot. So right now, with the premiums that I'm seeing, because we do our pricing based on findbullionprices.com, go with coins, because they're legal tender in jurisdictions. They normally don't have tax. Like Britannias don't have income tax, capital gains tax, no sales tax. So coins are usually the way you want to go when the premiums are this low.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Andy's all over this stuff, so it doesn't surprise me she'd have a good question like that. But she came up with another one right here. I love how she starts, not to be a killjoy, where she was talking. You were having the conversation about other jurisdictions, countries, etc. Here's her questions.
All right, not to be a killjoy, but if everyone is trying to get away from the U.S. control, would other countries be adverse if the U.S. has first mover advantage? So is it so diversified now that it doesn't matter? So yeah, there is a move to get away from the dollar, but they're getting away from the debt. They're getting away from treasuries, which is a sign of the collapse of the current global reserve currency, which we see it happen with sterling pound. After World War II, saw countries dumping sterling bonds and buying U.S. treasuries instead, and then Bretton Woods completely flipped the entire monetary global system on its head, and then it became the dollar as a monetary reserve currency versus the British sterling pound. So right now, with the trends, if you look at the trends, the number one, the second, well, actually no, now it's the number one. The number one reserve currency in the world is gold. The central banks have bought more gold than dumped treasuries, right? So that is telling me that central banks are starting to move towards gold as a settlement, because this fiat experiment that we've had since the Nixon shock in 1971 has epically failed. Now, it's not going to be a gold standard, but gold is going to back by a certain percentage the currencies of these different worlds, or the BRICS currency, or whatever this future monetary currency is going to be. It's going to be some tokenized version, probably a mix of goods based on the country, right? Countries rich in oil, they're probably going to back it with gold and oil, maybe some silver. If they are an exporter of bananas and whatever, they might back their production. Whatever it is, the future is going to be a digitized, tokenized currency. So that's why gold and silver in the United States, we're in a unique position for the individual states to make it legal tender, regardless of what the federal government says.
Well, it's funny where you're talking about the digitization here, because when we were originally talking and answering what the future was going to be, and you mentioned, digital currency, etc., he posted this question, and welcome, Stash, by the way. Why do people think that money now, like today's money, is not digital? Maybe
because what we have now isn't money. Your dollars is not money. It doesn't fit the third characteristic of money, which is a long-term store value. It's called digital currencies because, look, Dr. Eric Snyder said this, and I'm stealing from him. I love it. He says, all money is currency, but not all currency is money, right? So all money, the only form of money is gold and silver. So all money is a currency because it's a unit account and a medium of exchange, and it's a long-term store of value. Currencies are a medium of exchange in the a unit account, but it's not a long-term store of value, and that's why it's not money. Since we got off a gold and silver standard, the banks control the government officials. The corporations control, the lobbyists control the laws that are getting pushed and passed, right? So there's a level corruption where it's a legal corruption where you have corporations and PACs funding politicians and their re-election campaigns. And like in the instance in Florida, the freshman class of the House, they elect their Senate president and their Speaker of the House 8 years before they're actually, or 6 years before they're actually the Speaker of the House and the Senate president. That gives lobbying firms 8 years of financing the future leaders, getting these guys not guaranteed a vote, but building the relationships. And these corporations know what they're doing, right? So, what was the point? It was a money question. I can
bring it back up. Sorry. Here you go.
Yeah. So, I still don't remember what my point was. It was connected to my
well, you were talking about how all the difference between money and currency basically is where you were going with that, and why about being digital.
Right,
oh, wait,
right.
And he's responding here a little bit.
Oh, got you. Yeah, the dollar is not money, correct? You stated money in future would be digital. The U.S. Constitution and Bible define what money is. I agree. Yeah, so it's going to be digital because that's what every single country and look up ISO 2022. They already have between the central banks and the large financial institutions already have the rails for instantaneous transfer of digital currencies. You got to listen to what the CEOs and the WEF and all the central bankers are talking about. They're all talking about. They've already tested CBDCs. The Bahamas were the first ones to issue the Bahamian dollar CBDC. The future is going to be some type of digital currency. They're probably not going to call it a CBDC because we were successful in demonizing it and passing laws in the individual states from allowing CBDCs to come into some of those states. But they're going to come up with some other verbiage. They're going to come up with a digital wallet and call them government tokens or whatever they're going to call it. It's
stable coin. Yeah. Sorry.
Stable coins, right. The Genius Act and the Clarity Act. That's exactly what it is. Right, they're forcing stablecoin companies to buy U.S. treasuries. They're probably going to be forcing them to buy European treasuries and individual country territories. So we're already there. They're the stablecoins with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act are doing that. So the future is we're never going to go back to a physical market. In fact, 95% of or 98% of all financial transactions are done digitally. They want to get rid of that last, 5 or 3% that's done in cash or gold or whatever. So, I mean, look, they're trying. You can't even pull out 3,000 euros without scrutiny in Europe from the financial institutions. You can't pull out $10,000, which has been there since the 80s. You can't take out $10,000 without the IRS getting a FinCEN form 8300 from the bank. Or even from us, we're regulated like a financial institution at the coin shop. We have to, if we sell $10,000 cash of bullion over a period of time, we have to report that to FinCEN and the IRS. That's just how the world. That's how it is now. And the government, I've never known a government in human history that's willingly given up power.
Yeah, you're right.
Never. So they're going to want to control the finances. They're going to want to control. They want to stop money laundering. I think there's just an excuse to control the people and their finances.
No argument. And thank you for that great explanation. We got one more question. And honestly, until I saw this question, I had kind of forgotten that you guys were doing a whole video thing going on. And tell everybody about that, because I forgot to even ask this question. So catch us up.
We just finished filming season 1. Went to Asia. We went to China, Japan. Man, the technology they have in Japan and China, Hong Kong, they have like humongous gold refinery ATMs where you go in,
really
drop your gold into the machine. They literally smelt it within 2 minutes. Machine picks up the smelted gold, puts it in an SRF, tells you exactly how much pure gold is in your machine, and they pay you out either digital currency or check or cash or whatever. It's unbelievable. It's in the beta state. Wow. But it's the thing with China that happened in the U.S. In the U.S., we have in many states a hold. So you have to do a 30-day hold before you sell the silver to a refiner. So it's going to be difficult. The only way I can see that happening is if they pour a bar and then they laser the weight and purity of the gold bar on it, making it bullion, and then charging for that, and then spitting out the bar, and then them turning the bar back in to get paid. That's the only workaround that I can for a lot of those states, because bullion, if you have the weight and purity on it, it's a bullion bar. If you take it in jewelry and you have to wait because the police can need time to track stolen materials. So what was the question?
Well, he was asking when is season 2 and snapshot. That's was the question.
The point is we just finished season 1. We are now in post-production for the TV show. and we're expecting within 4 to 5 months to have the first episode aired on CNBC is the contract we're working with. They need the first episode before we finalize the contract. But we have it's going to be 12 episodes, I believe now. It's going to be an hour long versus 30 minutes long. We've traveled the whole world for basically 2 years doing this TV show. We got a bunch of sponsors. Another reason we longer was we kept getting sponsors, more revenue for the organization once the TV show came out. And then we have the streaming rights, and then we're going to be selling materials and like swag and all that. So
nice.
So
well,
season 2,
I've honestly forgotten all about that. That's great.
Yeah, we just got to see how well season 1 goes to see if there's going to be a season 2. So
okay, all right, that's interesting. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully, it would have been nice to have the show come out during this last bull rush. In January.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We thought we were going to air in the fall, but then we got some sponsors, kept pushing. We're going to be on bull market for gold and silver for at least another 5-6 years, I think, maybe even 10. So I think regardless, it's still timely. Now the prices, hopefully they don't show gold and silver prices because we're looking at 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Well, today it's not too bad.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, right now, 47.
I literally, you guys answered, or Daniel, you answered my questions. Jar, you got anything else before we already over an hour?
No, he went in pretty good detail on pretty much all the subjects, so I'm getting ready.
All right. Well, Daniel, I always like to have you put it out there. What can John Q Public do to help you, and what you got going on, or how can they join the fight, as it were?
Yeah. Well, we have our Pioneer membership. We have a silver and a gold plan. It's $25 a year for the silver Pioneer, and then $100 a year for the membership. And if you join at the gold membership, you get access to our social media platform, and you also get a ½ ounce of digital silver from Kinesis. We'll send that to you. We'll send an email on how to set up your account and receive your silver. And if you are in a state where you have connections with the state, any state delegate or state rep or senator, reach out to us so that we can coordinate and push. We're coming to the end of session. Some states have already ended session, like Florida and Maryland. Other states a couple of states are year round, like California and Michigan. I think Pennsylvania too. But most states are going to end their session this year in May and June. It's kind of already too late if there isn't sound money legislation in your state. But if you want to push something next year, and if you're a bullion dealer, go ahead and reach out to us. If you go to our website that we're showing now, we have partners. If you scroll down to the bottom where you were, there are links. And if you click on those links, they'll bring you to different websites, either buy bullion, open up accounts for monetary metals, UPMA, Alpine Gold, Defy the Grid, Metalmark, all those partners. We're going to be adding more partners on our website. And that a portion of the funds of whatever you purchase or whatever you deposit into those accounts come to support the organization. And if you are a company, join the Sound Money Trade Association. If you're in the gold and silver industry, whether you're a mint, refiner, bullion dealer, we have all different levels. Right now, we're only taking founding members until June. And then we have a strategy meeting next week to finalize all the tiers of our membership classes. And so that anybody can join and be a part of the trade association representing the gold and silver industry. And there's a bunch of benefits. Right now, Rob Keynes is now the executive director of the Sound Money Trade Association. And I mean, him and his team, they're doing a phenomenal job growing the organization, planning out what we're going to be doing, all the benefits that we're going to be providing, which is going to be substantial. I mean, this is going to be a different monster, a different beast. This is going to be an international trade association that's going to provide benefits that no other trade association has provided for the industry. So go ahead and join C4SM, learn more about our financial literacy at soundmoneymovement.org. And then if you're in the industry, check out Sound Money Trade Association. Become a founding member. You'll be permanently recognized as a founding member of the trade association. And you'll have different events and different benefits for being a founding member versus just joining later on after we open up the membership to everyone else.
Excellent.
Awesome. And again, for the record, all the links to Daniel's contact, C4SM, everything, including the last 2 times Daniel was here on this stream, are in the description. So go ahead and check those out. It is a wealth of information and knowledge. Daniel, you're the guest. Any last words you want to throw out there before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah. For those of you who have never bought gold and silver before, don't feel like you're behind the 8 ball. The best time to have planted a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. And I would say the same thing with buying gold and silver. And just some practical recommendations that I give to all my friends and customers that come in, or family members, is that if you want to know how much you should invest in silver, take 100 and subtract your age. The difference is how much you can risk of your net worth in assets like the stock market, crypto, any type of options contracts, whatever other investment. Your is a percentage of your net worth that should be in safe assets. The only safe assets are gold, silver, and cash. So that's the macro view. Now, if you're looking at what you should have physically, you should have at least 12 months of your monthly expenses at home. So figure out what your monthly expenses are per month, multiply by 12, take 50% of that, put that in cash. You should have 50% of your emergency cash. The other 50% should be in gold and silver. And then of that gold and silver ratio, I recommend 25% silver and 75% gold, because gold is a lot more stable, has beaten inflation longer and better than silver has. And silver is very volatile, but you still want silver because silver is the liquidity of the precious metal space, while gold is the wealth preservation. And you do have gold backs, you do have fractional gold that you can spend, but still, I mean, have you seen a quarter gold back? It's like how much is it? One gold back is like 10, so half gold back is like $4.50. So you're looking at a quarter gold back was $2.50, but those things are tiny. So you definitely want 25% silver, because that's the liquidity, the things that you're going to use for daily transactions, and then you can convert that gold into cash or gold into other silver.
Awesome. All good advice right there. I love it. Thank you, Daniel. And thanks for being here. I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Man. No, I appreciate you guys too, man. And I want to come on what is your Friday night? Something.
Crypto on the Rocks.
I want to do Crypto on the Rocks, man. But I have our own premiere that's going on at 7, and I'm doing whatnots every Friday at 6 to 7 p.m. till like 10. So unless you guys are doing another like 1 a.m. after.
Well, you're coming on later. Yeah, I don't know.
After hours.
Yeah, I'm getting old, and we can't keep that thing up. Although tomorrow night we're celebrating Badel's birthday on the show, so who knows? We'll see.
Maybe I might pop in the middle of the. Who knows? We'll see.
All right. Hey, we always love having you. You have an open invitation, my friend. You always do.
Appreciate your time, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah,
cheers.
No problem. All right. Listen, guys, we'll be back on our normal show on Tuesday. Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Everybody. Yeah, there you go. Look at it. Miss you. Look at it. Daniel getting the love, baby. There it is. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. But we're going to be out. We'll see you. Jar and I will see you on Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And matter of fact, Daniel, in case you don't want to see Jar and I, Daniel has a show going on 6 p.m. Eastern time. Daniel, tell them about that really quick, and then we'll call it.
Yeah, so our show is called Sound Money Matters on Tuesdays at Sound Money Matters Live. So every Tuesday we have an interview with an expert or a panel, or just myself and Benjamin just talking about sound money and the latest what's going on with gold and silver. And then we have a premiere that's recorded every Friday at 7 p.m. It's also the same thing. This week is going to be Kevin Wadsworth from North Star Bad Charts. We go over what's going on economically. We're going to go over, the potential of a global financial crisis 2.0, everything that is pointing in that direction. The future of gold and silver. Next week, we're going to have the author of the Bitcoin Gambit explaining why Bitcoin isn't money and some of the issues with Bitcoin and fiat. I'm not against Bitcoin. I'm just against it as money. It's definitely one of the best investments you can invest in. But I don't think right now is the best time to invest into cryptocurrency. As you guys know, I sold everything in August of 2024, and it has been the best financial decision of my life. So, but there is going to be a time where you want to sell your gold and silver and go into investments. But right now is not the time to do that. Right now is the time to protect yourself from the oncoming either global financial crisis 2.0 or the Great Depression 2.0. One of the two.
Oh, boy. Yes.
And on that note,
check it out tomorrow, 7 p.m. at 4 Sound Money is our handle on YouTube, 4 Sound Money.
Perfect. Check it out.
Man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks again, bud. We'll see you later.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Later, guys.